Fellow Ghanaians, good evening and thank you very much for joining us here on Upfront on the JoyNews channel. Well, over the last few days, many of you have been concerned. You have been talking about SSNIT and particularly the state of your investments. You've asked yourself the very simple question: why would SSNIT want to sell 60% of its shares in 4 hotels? These hotels being Labadi Beach Hotel, La Palm Beach Resort, and the Elmina Beach Resort, as well as Ridge Royal Hotel in Cape Coast. You've asked the question, how poorly are these hotels performing? Can SSNIT, for instance, decide to have a management contract with a group that can actually oversee the performance of these hotels? Well, that's actually brought into question even the function and mandate of SSNIT, as well as its investment. Many of you have asked the question, why would SSNIT be consistently involved in investments that it turns around to sell? After all, I know many of you are aware of the Kumasi Catering Rest House that was also sold to Rock City Hotel and all the challenges that came up. In one instance, we're told, well, it should have cost some 8.6 million. In another instance, it should have been 5.6. Eventually, it was decided it should be 7.1 million Ghana cedis, and then lots of issues concerning it. But this is the question: what is it that SSNIT engages in the investments, investing in assets, and consistently having to sell these assets? I'm sure you know all the assets that SSNIT has had to sell over the period. Why is it that SSNIT is becoming that institution that has everything it touches, even if it's gold, turning into dust? My name is Winston Amoa, and of course, I am a contributor to SSNIT, and so just like you, I am concerned. And this evening, I seek only one answer. Is it time to review the mandate of SSNIT and its investment portfolio? When we return after these messages, I'll be introducing my guest to you, who has lots of expertise. He's a chartered tax consultant, chartered financial analyst, and also a credit industry analyst. He'll be telling us more about what he makes of all that is happening and what can be done to SSNIT. He has extensive experience when it comes to these issues. He's been investigating the investments of SSNIT for a very long time and would share with us why it probably is time to reconsider the investments of SSNIT. We'll be right back. Welcome back. My guest, like I indicated, is a credit industry analyst, is a chartered tax consultant, and also a financial analyst. My guest is Kojo Akpabi, who's made time all the way in the United States of America to join us. He has a lot of experience when it comes to SSNIT and its activities. Kojo Akpabi, good evening, and thank you very much for joining us.
How are you doing?
We're doing very fine. We believe that you are also doing very well. Lots of issues about SSNIT, and we've been having this conversation for a very long time. You've done lots of investigations about SSNIT. Even before we get into SSNIT and its investment and why we need to have a change, tell us what you make of, the discussion today that SSNIT wants to sell 60% of its shares in Labadi Beach Hotel, La Palm Beach Resort, Elmina Beach Resort, and also Ridge Royal Hotel in Cape Coast.
Well, good evening to my fellow Ghanaians. In the first place, I started my work experience with State Enterprises Audit Corporation. We were auditing all the state institutions. And every Ghanaian must know that per Act 461, page 3, all state institutions are under the direction of the president. He is the elected president. And let me just read it. In this act, unless the content otherwise requires, company means a company limited by shares and registered under the company's code. Minister means the minister responsible for finance. And all these state institutions are there. They are managed and run by elected officials, but appointed by the president. So the buck, just as President Truman said, the buck stops on my desk, the buck stops with the president. He appoints every one of them. So any decision that is taken on SSNIT has to be approved or with the consent of the president.
But you also would agree that the president cannot be everywhere. So the president would have ministers, and SSNIT itself would have a board of trustees, and that board, as much as it reports to the minister who would report to the president, has oversight responsibility over the strategic direction of SSNIT. So what's the point that you want to make? I mean, I just want to get your thoughts on, SSNIT's dealings, particularly in the hotels, because you have a lot of, you've been investigating SSNIT over the period. What do you make of the decision to sell 60% of SSNIT's stake in these hotels, something that has generated a lot of controversy in Ghana today?
That's fine. I do hope that as we are speaking, most Ghanaians have copies of a report on SSNIT by SFO, now WECO, in which I played a key role in the investigation and the findings and the recommendations. Nothing came out of that. That is the Ghana we are running.
I mean, this investigation you talk about, which year was it conducted? What were the findings? What were the recommendations?
Well, I don't have the report before me right now, but that was way back. That was during the time of SF.
Yes.
And I think the executive director might be Sapati, Mr. Sapati. I forgot him, but that's a long time ago. But the report is there. Any Ghanaian could read the report. And with SSNIT, they go into investments that, for the most part of the time, fail. And I don't know who are responsible for getting SSNIT into all these investments. You will see that proper work has not been done in terms of finding out whether the investments will be profitable. And the sad part of it is that you and I have our contributions there. And SSNIT does whatever it wants.
What do you mean by, they don't do proper assessment? Anybody who goes into an investment would actually do all the assessments and find out if the investment is working. We're talking about hotels here. We're talking about Labadi Beach Hotel, for instance. It's profitable. In 2022, they paid dividends of 25 million Ghana cedis to SSNIT. That's not an investment that is not doing well, Kujo Akpabi.
Well, do you have a copy of the report for them to come to conclusion to sell these hotels? We need to have a copy of the report. Who were involved in carrying out in arriving at the solution or conclusion that selling the hotel is profitable. We need to know. I need to read the report and find out what formula, how did they arrive at their figures? What data did they collect to come to the conclusion that is profitable? But what I'm saying is this. In all the work I've done in Ghana, even including the port, what I've seen is there's no proper supervision as far as these state institutions are concerned. And I'm saying that they are run and managed by unelected officials. As for the president, we elected him. And then you have the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance may be unelected, but he is in charge of all the state institutions on behalf of the president. That is the danger, and that is the challenge that we have.
Hold on a minute.
No
Because,
one,
yeah, hold on a minute, because now we have a public enterprises minister who's supposed to be in charge of these state institutions as well as institutions where the state has interest. We'll get to the bit about supervision, but you talk about SSNIT and what were they looking for. So I have a copy of the publication that SSNIT did when it was, soliciting, firms to participate, and it said SSNIT's objective is to develop its owned hotels into world-class standard in their respective categories, and is therefore seeking capital injection from competent strategic investors with expertise in owning and managing hotels and or development of real estate to finance these developments. SSNIT will not be involved in injecting additional capital. That's what SSNIT wanted.
yeah, but who are responsible for coming out with this report? They should give us data. We want data. We want information. Running SSNIT is not quantum mechanics. It's not running. It's not rocket science. It's simple. Who came out with this report that this investment is feasible? We need to know.
You don't
like
trust?
I'm saying, I've been involved in all this, and my conclusion is this: the challenge we have is the type of political system we run. And instead of these institutions to be accountable to we, the Ghanaians, the citizens, they are not. So who came out with this report suggesting that this investment is feasible? We need to know. And we need to let them tell us the financials, the financial statement, the figures. I deal with figures.
Well, these are issues that we have written to SSNIT. We have sought information on through a right to information request, and so we are waiting on SSNIT. I'm sure they would give us all the information that we've asked for. We've actually done that, so we are waiting on SSNIT. We're waiting for SSNIT to give us this. But you say you have concerns with SSNIT's investment portfolio and how it goes about them. I want you to tell me specifically what those concerns are, how SSNIT goes about them, and what you believe must change.
Yeah, in fact, any state institution, not only SSNIT, all the state institutions, for them to go into any investment, we need to see the financial statement, the projections, so that we can make an input. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. They have a board. Only God knows who make up the board. And the understanding of investment. I'm saying that the type of government we run is winner takes all. So all the appointment, with all the work I've done, my conclusion is we put people to run state institutions who are not qualified to run those state institutions. That's my conclusion. But I've been involved in a whole lot. And I'm saying that our system appoints cronies, party faithfuls, and all that. So we don't have, and they are not accountable to you and me. So that is the bottom line. And the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I think as Article 76(2), gives the president all the power to do whatever he deems fit. He doesn't take instruction from we the people. He takes the institution. That is the constitution we are running. Mr. Amoa and all Ghanaians, for us to change this, unless we change the constitution. I have spoken. You have interviewed me. You have hosted me. 3FM. Whole lot. It's never going to change today or tomorrow because the president has all the power. As a matter of fact, like a colleague of mine says, we have given, mortgaged the whole country, the resources to the president. So the president could do whatever he wants to do. And unless we change that, Mr. Amo and Ghanaian will come back to the same challenge again. You've requested for a report from SSNIT, and yet you haven't gotten it yet. How long is it going to take? They may give it to you anytime they want. That is the system. And I'm sick and tired of the system we are running, which is a failure. As a matter of fact, I have something here on SSNIT. I wanted my SSNIT contributions, the contributions I made, that was way back 2015. Before I came to the US, I said, give me my lump sum. They put a figure here. I said, show me the formula for arriving at this figure. They don't know. They just put something there.
What do you mean by, no, hold on.
Yeah.
Babi. What do you mean by they don't know? They just put something there.
Yes, I asked them, show me how you arrive at this figure. I went back and forth with SSNIT. They couldn't explain.
Is it that you had a problem with the amount that was given to you?
So show me the form.
No, hold on. Let me just get the clarification.
Yes.
They gave you an amount.
Yes.
You say you don't understand the amount. So
I don't agree.
You don't agree with the amount. So
Right.
They should give you the formula that they used.
How they arrive at that figure?
Did they give you the formula?
They didn't. They couldn't. Up to today, more than close to 10 years. I decided to go to court, but I realized even our judicial system, it will take a whole lot of my time. And I have my kids to take care of. So I had to leave. The point I'm making is this. Mr. Amwa and all Ghanaians, let's change the way we do things in Ghana and most countries in Africa by changing this constitution. Nothing is going to happen.
While we wait to change the constitution, hold on. While we wait to change the constitution, I mean, it's a conversation that we're having. So, I mean, the bit about the constitution would come in later, would we? But currently, we have the institution SSNIT. It's in charge of our Tier 1 pension. I mean, they don't have to give us lump sums anymore. They have to give us, monthly income. Now, in doing so, they have to invest the funds. Now, people are raising issues. They've talked about the fact that over the period, SSNIT has consistently been making, has had issues when it comes to its, particularly real estate and, banks that it went into. Because we know, for instance, SSB, Social Security Bank, that belonged to SSNIT. We also know of the Trust Bank. We know of the shares SSNIT had in Merchant Bank, Cal Bank. We know all of these things. Today, Cal Bank is engaged in share subscription. A lot of issues not going on well. So I want us, because you talk about it, because you were, with the state audit, you've done these things, you've read the reports of the SFO and all of that. What I really want to understand, beyond the Constitution, what I want to understand is that what is it that SSNIT does when it comes to investing in properties, in assets, that doesn't seem to go well, and consistently we come back wanting to sell and having a conversation about losses?
In my view, and in all the work I've done, these institutions don't have those who are qualified to handle the institutions, especially investment. They are not. I've alluded to the fact that appointments are made not based on how qualified you are. Since 1992, it has been so. So, therefore, we have unqualified people that are running state institutions, losses. Let's look at all the balance sheets of all the state institutions, not only SSNIT. Go and look at all the balance sheets of all the state institutions, and you will see losses. These are all part of the national debt. So I'm saying that we can talk and talk and talk, and nothing is going to happen. They have made losses. And so, therefore, they went into an investment and it failed. What are we going to do? I'm saying that that is the reason why some of us felt the system is not working. No government will come. They've always been promising. Will audit all state institutions. I have copies of the newspapers here. It's never done. Mr. Amwa and Ghanaian, let's sit up. And this winner takes all, let's appoint people to head state institutions that belong to you and I, every Ghanaian. Qualify people to do that. Otherwise, you will come back. Another state institution will fail, and you will call me again. I'm saying that I had been involved in investigating most of the state institutions, including SSNIT. Why would we go into real estate? Why we don't have the figures don't agree that there will be profit, but there's somebody who wants to benefit from that project. So they will go ahead anyway and get into that. That is what has been happening. The next time you call me, get the balance sheet of all the state institutions. And we are kind of mortgaging the country for my children and children's children. And you as well. I had appeared on air several times in Ghana and spoken about all the fraudulent practices in the state institution, including the harbor. You are aware. Nothing happened. Government changed. And I'm saying that we are not going to take it anymore. But you in Ghana would have to kind of join us in the diaspora. I've been leading the discussions here in the diaspora. And I know what is happening here. We are in turbulent times. The world is on fire. Ghana is going to have election in December. We are having election in November here. Let's put our acts together. We'll do our part here. You in the system also do your part.
Yes, we'll do our part. But while we wait to do our part, you've talked about unqualified people. I mean, look at SSNIT. Look at SSNIT, for instance. Dr. John Ofori-Tinkrang. I mean, he's investment consultant. He was in the United States. He was working there. He comes into Ghana. Kofi Osafo-Mafo was Deputy Director General in charge of investment, now Director General of SSNIT. He has the experience. So who are these unqualified persons you talk about, Kujo Akpabi? I mean, if we look at SSNIT, for instance.
I think they work in the US.
Yes.
And they work on investment with companies, Wall Street or where?
Yes.
And they belong to which political party?
You know, tell me.
I don't know. You are in Ghana.
They belong to the NPP. Go ahead and make your point.
Yeah, I'm saying that if I'm appointed to head an institution in Ghana, as I sit here, I wouldn't take it. You know why?
Tell me.
The powers that be will control me and tell me what to do. And I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take any appointment. I'm saying that these things are designed. It's not by accident. They know that the investment they're going to go in wouldn't be profitable. And yet they go in. And Mr. Amo, I'm saying that the youth, our children, are the ones going to suffer. Seriously. Let them show us what qualification they have, what work they have done in investment. Then they should show us the formula. We want the data, we want the formula, the calculations they did to arrive at that investment. It's all about mathematics. Investment is about mathematics. Do the figures agree? And I'm saying that no.
Since we talk about figures, and I mean, since you are a financial person and you're a credit industry analyst, I mean, these are things that you do. So help us understand. I mean, let's situate the conversation this way. So if I indicate, for instance, if I decide to invest in, say, a hotel, and in this case, I'm using SSNIT because it's SSNIT we're talking about, and we want to understand whether it's time to change, when it comes to its investment portfolio, for instance. So if, say, SSNIT decides to invest in a hotel, how do you expect SSNIT to go about it?
One, we have a nation where we have challenges with energy, right? Mm-hmm. Power. And if we have challenges with energy, then it will affect all kinds of businesses. That is one. I have been in Ghana. We talk about doomsday. We talk about solving energy, providing energy. As of today, my colleagues still tell me we have challenges with energy. If we don't take care of energy, it will be difficult. I'm at a place where energy is constant. Even if they take off and they tell you in the next 5 minutes, exactly the next 5 minutes it comes on, so you can budget and do your work. We have challenges with communication, internet, telcos. Everything is a failure because the energy situation has not been resolved up to today. So anyone going into any kind of business, whatever, we need energy. Let me ask, why has the energy challenges not been resolved up to today? So that affects everything. Then you are going into real estate, or you are going into hotel. Hotels provision comes with so many things to make it viable. We don't have. I think at this stage, we are in 2024. We shouldn't deceive ourselves. Both parties that have run my country and your country since 1992 have not been able to solve the challenges, especially energy. And if that is not done...
Well, the energy challenge, yes, this year we have challenges currently. Prior to that, the situation was better. But let me take you to something, because you make the point. Let's look at the investment, because you've talked about, we need to check our investment. There's been a conversation about the fact that Ghana should be considering a capital market where SSNIT can invest in, long-term projects, for instance. There's a lot of conversation about the fact that, because pensions are such that inflations, we're paying today, and by the time we're getting money from SSNIT, we'll be getting more than we paid. SSNIT must engage in investments that over the period would yield more returns than even the rate of inflation. So, from your point of view, what sort of investment should SSNIT be engaging in?
Let me be blunt with you. I've been here, I've been involved in research for so many years. Monetary policy is a failure, even in the West. Why? It is paper money. All these investments you're talking about are related to paper money. If I say paper money, centralized currency, dollar, cedi, pound, right? And our currency, that is paper money, is not a well-reserved currency. That is why today you can see, if you check or you do your research, the world's leading central banks are buying gold in record times, including BRICS. So all the investment we're talking about are related to paper money. And paper money, that is monetary policy that controls paper money. And it's a failure.
How is that a failure?
How is that a failure?
Yes.
I'm saying that the paper money is designed to devalue. We have cedi, and today the exchange rate maybe what is the exchange rate today?
And the Forex Bureau, it's about 15 Ghana cedis to a dollar.
Right. The dollar has challenges, but the advantage the dollar has is it's a well-reserved currency. So since it's a well-reserved currency, we are looking for dollar in our system. And the exchange rate is determined over here. And so, unless we change the way we do business in Ghana and move away from paper money to decentralized currency, that is what is going to happen. If I say decentralized currency, I came to Ghana last year and ran lectures free of charge for the youth on blockchain and decentralized currency, because that's the way to go. Our currency is not a well-reserved currency.
Okay. Now, let me take you back to my question. So, this is SSNIT. We've talked about investment. We've talked about the fact that we need to, have our institutions, particularly SSNIT that oversees our pensions, invest in the right areas. And I'm asking you, because of your background, beyond, the conversation about blockchain and everything, but I mean, that's a conversation that we can have later. But today, since we're not there, what must SSNIT do to ensure that in future, when I retire, I don't have to go challenging SSNIT that how did you calculate, my investments, because they probably cannot give me what I expect.
The challenge is this. The figures, my observation is this. The figures the state institutions turn out for us sometimes are not correct. And let me say this. For instance, if I look at SSNIT's financial statements now, I will raise issues. I will ask questions. I will ask questions. How did you arrive at this figure? Sometimes in our country, and especially Africa, we create a financial statement or a balance sheet that looks so good. So we don't have the question. It's just like when some companies in the West failed because they were audited by accounting firms and the figures were cooked, and later on it blew up, and that was the end of that accounting firm and the company. I'm saying that let's look at all the balance sheets, individual balance sheets of all the state institutions. And I'm not saying that KPMG should go. There are Ghanaians who are qualified, who were trained at KPMG. I've been there. Sometimes I get worried. Why do we take all these international accounting firms that have had problems and there are Ghanaians who are qualified to do this work. They work in those firms. All the state institutions, let's look at their financial statement and balance sheets. And as long as audit is going on regularly, and if I go to a state institution, the first thing I do is to read the internal audit report. And if the internal auditor has been doing his work right, he will raise all those red flags. So we know that this company wouldn't survive. But I'm still coming back to the point. We appoint because it's winner takes all. So
all right.
the solution is this. The internal auditors must do their work, come out with the right report. If they see issues, it should be there. So when the external auditors come, they read the internal auditor's report first and see where the weaknesses and the dangers are. But in our system, will we be able to do that? That is the billion-dollar question.
That is the billion-dollar question. Thank you very, very much, Kojo Akpabi, who is a credit industry analyst and a chartered tax consultant and financial analyst, for joining us here on Upfront on the Joy News channel. That's all from us this evening. My name is Winston Amwa. I'll catch you on the Super Morning Show tomorrow. We have another program coming up. Enjoy your evening.